Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacy, and you're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our guest is Adrian Ridner. He's the co-founder and CEO of Study.com. Welcome to the show, Adrian.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, just to give a little background on Adrian, he is an education expert who is here today to talk about why school district doesn't have to be a deal breaker when it comes to buying a dream home. As co-founder and CEO of Study.com, a trusted education website used by over 25 million students and teachers each month, he's an expert on personalized learning, college affordability, and how technology is transforming education. His company, Study.com, has one of the largest collections of video lessons and study tools for K through 12 and college students. So, Adrian, what is Study.com?
Yes, first of all, again, thank you for having me. Study.com is a website that offers the simplest way to learn. We have, as you mentioned, over 20,000 short animated video lessons, and they're organizing courses covering all major subjects from elementary school all the way through college. As students watch the videos, take the quizzes, use the flashcards, any of our other many study tools, and we're helping, as you mentioned, over 25 million students every month study, improve their grades, and even earn low-cost college credit online. So the platform is really helping both students and teachers today learn and teach using technology and be able to not just, necessarily replace the teacher or the textbook, but really supplement it in a way that can be a lot more engaging and fun for the students and their expectations today.
Wow, that's cool. So what made you start an education company?
It was probably the biggest piece was frustration. When I was in college, I was really frustrated with the access to some of the teachers I wanted to take. I was frustrated with the pace of class. I couldn't skip ahead if I already knew something. I had to go at whatever pace everyone else was going. I got waitlisted a lot during college. That added a lot to my cost of going to school, even though I was willing to take more credits per quarter. I was not able to actually get into the class. But probably the biggest frustration I had was the rising cost of books and tuition. Both of them, for me, added up quite a bit. Every quarter felt like there were new increases in the cost of tuition. And today it's gotten even worse. If you look at the cost of inflation of tuition compared to incomes in the United States, it's amazing how much students are paying today per credit hour than even what I was paying before. So that frustration was really what made me join forces with my co-founder Ben Wilson. And I was thinking as a computer science major, there had to be a way technology can help solve these problems. And surely enough, it's something that as we got deeper into it, there's really ways that technology can help and really make everyone, think differently about education and have access to affordable, efficient, and really quality education using both the internet and other technologies that we have today. And that was the really driving force behind why I started Study.com.
So we have a lot of real estate people that listen to this program, and even if they're not real estate agents, they might be buying or selling a house. And you're seeing that with your Study.com platform, no longer should a school district necessarily be a deal killer for a potential property. And we actually see that a lot. People don't go into certain towns because of the school district. So can you explain your reasoning on that?
Absolutely, and this has been common wisdom for a very long time that, that's one of the most important factors. As you mentioned, people will either not go into a certain district or even pay 20-30% more for, 2 blocks over. You're in a different zone. For my perspective, it's not just our platform. I think a lot of people don't realize some of those scores are based on factors that can be misleading. For example, just test scores. And is that really the most important aspect for your child and their education is going to be the test scores from that school? What about other factors? For example, the diversity at the school, the after-school programs, the special needs programs, class sizes. A lot of times they'll look at a score on a website, see it at 7 instead of at 10, and automatically write off a house that could be a lot more in their price range with a lot less debt because of that. And that's part of the issue. You have to do your homework and realize there's not such a thing as a perfect school for your child. Your kid is unique. As they progress from elementary to middle school through high school, their needs in their education are going to change. And the score of the school, if it's, for example, just based on exit exams, and it's not really going to be the biggest determinant on their success and their future learning. So there are a lot of other things that if your dream house is not in a top school district that you can do that have really nothing to do with the score itself. And I think that realizing that every child is unique, and you have to take that into account and do your research on the school and figure out why is it getting a lower score. Is that the biggest thing that matters to you? And if the reason is yes, if the test scores is the most important, then of course take that into account. But a lot of times, class size, depending on the type of learning style that your child has, may be a much bigger factor about how they learn and how much they can retain than, for example, the test score. So you just need to look at the holistic picture when you're doing it. But there are things you can do if you end up with not the best school district for your kid.
The whole platform sounds interesting to me. I know when I was in high school, I fell behind, making it difficult to get into colleges at that time. So I ended up going to a community college just to get caught up in algebra and calculus, because it seems like in high school, if you fall behind, you're behind, and it's really hard to get caught up. So on your study.com platform, is it pay per class, or is it a subscription that you can take as many classes as you want? How does it work?
Yeah, so our subscription on study.com is all you can take. So you pay a monthly fee, and you have access to all the courses. You have access to all the study tools, all the flashcards, all the exam and test prep. And it's really interesting because what we find is it really depends on the student's learning style. And if they like the short, animated, engaging videos, and a lot of students these days, with the attention spans they have, they're used to being on their phones on the time. They're used to consuming information in short bite-sized pieces, and that's how we built our lessons and our courses. With the subscription, they have access to everything. So we have different types of students. We have students that will take a course, Algebra 1, from beginning to end, take every lesson, take every course, pass the final exam and get a certificate of completion. And they do that sometimes, at the same times as they're enrolled in the class itself in high school, or if they fell behind, they can catch up doing that on their own time. Other students use this much more as a library. They're assigned a homework. They don't understand parabola specifically, or linear equations, or something in chemistry, and they will go just search for that very specific concept or topic. They'll watch the video, they'll take the quiz, and then learn that specific topic, and really jump around across the whole library, because if they're enrolled in 4, 5, 6 classes, they may need help across all of them. I think one of the biggest things that we've learned by helping millions of students is the learning style of every student is unique. We tested a lot of different versions of our platform. So we had, I like to call it talking heads, so they lecture for 1 hour on the professor. That really wasn't engaging for a large part of our users. But video is not always the answer. We actually have about 40% of our students like to read, and they're better at comprehending through reading than they are through watching the video, believe it or not. And that was actually a big surprise for us, because we thought that video was going to be 90, 100% used by everybody, and it wasn't. And I think just like every child is unique in a lot of other ways, learning is no different. And a professor or a book isn't always going to be the best way for them to learn and get all the knowledge and be able to test themselves. And that's where study.com comes in. They can follow along what the class is doing. They can catch up if, like you said, they got behind and now they're in high school and they really need to catch up quickly, or they can get ahead. We have students who are in high school and they are getting ahead, they're advanced, and they want to go into college-level courses before they even finish high school, and you can do that as well on study.com. So you can use it to keep up, to catch up, or to get ahead.
This is awesome. I'm looking at the site right now. So how do you curate all the content, by the way? Like all the classes?
That's a great question. So we actually, what we do is we pair up great instructors with awesome video editors and animators. So we create all the content. So we have an editing and a peer review process built into the production process. But we actually work with hundreds of professors and teachers in the U.S. to help us create the content. And what we realize is, just because you're great at teaching chemistry or biology, you may not be great to do it in the format that our students find most engaging. And that's where combining that great instructor with the video animator becomes key. So we curate quite a bit, and we have a lot of teachers that want to help us and work with us, but we actually reject more teachers to work for us than Stanford rejects students, because we really take it seriously, trying to make sure that they're not only great instructors, but they can follow the learning style that is needed for our platform and the way the students want to learn. But besides that, there is a peer review process and editing process that comes in. But that's one of our biggest advantages, because we're involved in the production of every course and every lesson. We don't have a lot of the quality problems. If you just go to YouTube and try to find something, you don't know who made it. The quality may be inconsistent, and we don't suffer from that problem because of the way we're combining the teachers.
Got it. So I know you have some strategies for making college more affordable. Can you share those? Absolutely. I think that the first one is, people don't realize this, but 81% of students at public universities take more than 4 years to graduate. And if you think about the amount of time that is, it's not just the tuition. Living expenses, every other cost can add up to more than 20-25% on your overall degree cost. So make sure you do your research on the actual school that you plan to attend before you get there, before you send your acceptance letter. Look at the graduation times and rates for the major you plan on attending, and realize that it's not because students are just hanging out and want to take an extra couple of years. A lot of times it's because the classes that you need are not being offered. There's other issues that can be involved, and that can add up very quickly. So you can cut a lot of costs by just checking that before you send your acceptance letter. The other part goes back to what we're talking about getting ahead. High school students can take college courses, and a lot of students know about AP courses, and that's great. They're advanced placement courses you can take. A lot of students take a couple of them, transfer 2 or 3 classes, and that can save you money. But what a lot of students don't know is that you can take courses on platforms like study.com, where you could take over half of your courses, all your general electives, online before you get to your college, and then transfer all those credits, much like community college that you said you attended. It's a very, very similar process, except it's all online, mobile enabled, and you can transfer into the college, the 4-year university of your choice. That alone can save you over 50% on your college tuition and your college costs. So that's a huge one from my perspective. The last one is, realize that the school you're going to won't matter as much to the employer of the future than the major that you selected and your ability to learn. People get hung up on the perfect school, their dream school. It might be very expensive, and that's how we also end up in this problem of $1.2 trillion in student debt. Is a lot of times people are paying thousands of dollars per credit hour where they don't have to. And the employer of the future is going to care about your ability to learn on the job and the major that you attended much more than the exact name. So the ROI of your degree is going to be a lot more determinant on the major itself, and what you put into it, what you get out of it, is going to be based on your ability to learn on the job. Knowledge right now, information and facts are at our fingertips. It's something that was different than 20 years ago. And your ability to process that and learn it and change it on the job is going to matter a lot more to your employer. So going for a degree that's going to cost you 3 times as much because you got hung up on the school brand is really
not the way to make college more affordable.
And Adrian, we only have about 2 minutes left. Can you share with us and the audience some future trends for education, what you see happening?
There's a lot of exciting things happening in education. For example, if you think about mobile, that's a shift that's starting to happen and has touched a lot of our lives, transportation, finance. I don't go to the ATM anymore, but it hasn't really touched education as much. And the ability to have learning on the go and the ability to share with each other as we go is something that is definitely starting to take hold in classrooms from the perspective of the student and the teacher. But there's a lot of other things around personalized learning. If you have a classroom with 30 students, you're going to be able to have technology that gives the teacher the ability to know where are each of us exactly in our mastery of algebra. And all of a sudden, instead of delivering the content and spending an hour lecturing, that teacher can group us and realize that, okay, all of us need to learn a particular subject, and all of us need to learn linear equations, and really customize the education, because all that data is going to be fed directly to the teacher through technology in real time as we're going through the class. And the last one, and it's more out there, but there's a lot of talk about virtual reality, and it can change a lot of industries. I think for education, it's actually really exciting. I can envision a day where you'll have a doctor getting trained and essentially be in a surgical room performing surgery, except there's no patient at risk. It looks like it's just like a surgery that they have to practice, but there's no one at risk on that table because they're able to do it all through virtual reality. Or kids taking expeditions to the pyramids and being able to feel like they're experiencing that location and what that was like, and that experiential learning through virtual reality. So there's just a lot of exciting things that technology can bring to education, and part of what we need is progressive teachers that are going to help bring that into the classroom. But the good news is, parents and students are expecting it now. Just like technology has changed our lives in many ways and made things easier and more convenient.
That's great. That's all great information, Adrian. We really appreciate you joining us on the show. That's going to do it for this edition of Get Real. Make sure you join us again next weekend for more.